What's up, YouTube? I am even cutting these videos shorter. Breaking: Diddy found not guilty for the trafficking and racketeering. Golly, man. I'm gonna play this first, man. Shout out to my man Udo on Go. He live right now, live at the courthouse. So let's check this bad boy out a little bit, just a little bit, man. See what's going on.
Consensual oils. And I got my Astro Glide. That's their cars. They're pulling up. If it don't slip, you must have quit. If it don't slip, you must have quit. If it don't slip, you must have quit. Diddy getting out of here, y'all. And I'm invited to the party. I'm about to jump in the van. Fuck this. He's supposed to go to Brooklyn to get processed. That's how it goes. But let these people feel what they want to feel. Diddy coming out this door.
Diddy coming out?
I done seen crazy shit.
Home.
I done seen crazy things happen. I don't know. This nigga walk out of here like this.
You know how that shit is? That shit flipped on you. It flipped on him.
Yo, Diddy! I gotta go on my voice. Diddy! Diddy! Oh my wickeds! Diddy! Diddy!
Wait a minute, is it finished?
He submitted it. Lil Chris just came in and told me, his nephew. That's Diddy's nephew that came and told me this around. They're like, yo, they submitted the paper already. He said, yo, they submitted the paper already. And they just waiting on the prosecution to see what they're gonna say or whatever the case may be. I'm like, all right, cool.
Oh, so it's not confirmed yet.
We still waiting on the bail. I just tell my girl from News One. My girl from News One.
No, he has an apartment here. You're right. $1 million bond.
Let me see. I'm texting to him to see if he gonna respond, but now he drinking water.
Family coming out.
He's not bail hearing at 5. So somebody said it's gonna be a bail hearing at 5.
Bond?
2, 3, 4, 5. That's 3 hours from now.
You pay that? What happened? He was giving you $50 million before. Y'all denied him. Forgot about that? I was offering you $50 million for a bond. I'll give you niggas $1 million in my ass.
R. Kelly sitting somewhere pissed.
You want $1 million? Yo, bye! Yo, family! Don't leave me!
Don't leave you, man.
Don't leave Uda Combs!
Uda gone crazy out there.
Don't leave the last one!
Uda Combs, he trying to be.
Who that, my mom's?
But he just like me, he stayed neutral. The whole time he stayed neutral. I try to stay neutral. Dang, young. I should have jumped in the car.
Who that, my grandmother? Who that?
I kept feeling it, man.
I can't see shit. Who there? Who's here? Hold on, I want to go to the press box anyway. I want to go to the press shit. Excuse me. Sorry. Excuse me, let me.
He joking around now.
TV, walkie-talkie, Astro Clock. You just got to keep them separate. That's why I keep them in individual pockets, Mike. So when the police run down, say what I did. Go in my right pocket. What's that? It's my baby oils. Go in my left. What's that? I'm not moving, sir. I'm not reaching for nothing.
Yeah, Udo on Go is funny as I don't know what, man. So let's get back to some serious business, man. I'm trying to see. Y'all hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell.
Time no see. Good to be with you. I'm Chris Stewart. Welcome back to the Law and Crime live stream. We have live coverage. I know we just had a verdict is in animation run. I want to be clear that a note has been sent from the jury. So we're a little more than an hour into deliberations today, roughly 14 and a half hours thus far since the jury started deliberating. Remember yesterday, they reached a verdict, unanimous verdicts on 4 of 5 counts facing Sean Diddy Combs, but they were deadlocked to that point, or at least in a place where they said they were unpersuadable on count 1, the racketeering conspiracy charge facing Sean Diddy Combs. We just got an update. It is a verdict. That is per CNN and Inner City Press, which has been covering this case. We do have a verdict in the trial of Sean Diddy Combs. I want to bring in Sierra Gillespie, who is the host of Scandal here on Law and Crime. So just about an hour into deliberations today, Sierra, after they went home last night, they were not able to reach an agreement on count one. Now we have a verdict coming in. What is your reaction as I'm being told that Combs and other lawyers have returned to the courtroom? And so we're going to continue to follow this. Just your reaction thus far, pretty quick this morning.
The verdict is in. It is official. I mean, yesterday we were talking about how 4 of the 5 counts had been decided upon. The verdict was in, but still a question mark for this morning. What could come of that final one? Count 1, racketeering conspiracy. And only about an hour into deliberations this morning, the jury returns a verdict. And let me tell you, there was a lot going on. Up and down the road that I'm on right here, it's filled with media. And we're all sitting down waiting, what's going to happen, updating our phones. Is there any sort of, news coming? And all of a sudden I hear next to me, ABC, we've got a verdict. Everyone else, here's the verdict. And by the way, I think we have a court update. So I'm going to go back to Chris. Tell us what we know.
Yes, court update coming in. Again, we have a verdict in the trial of Sean Diddy Combs. Sean Diddy Combs' lawyers are still meeting with him in private as we wait for the verdict to be read in court. We know that Combs' mom and his sister are in the courtroom. We saw members of his family, his children were there. They actually prayed with Sean Diddy Combs inside of the courtroom this morning before members of his family left, which was probably about 15, 20 minutes ago. And then Sean Combs went to a separate room where he was going to wait out these deliberations. I want to bring in our panel of experts who are with me this morning, starting at 9 o'clock. Candace Kelly, legal analyst, and then we have William Corman, who's a criminal defense attorney. Both are joining us. So very quick, since I last spoke to you, that verdicts come in. Just Candace, what's your reaction? I mean, we were thinking potentially that this was going to be a hung jury. We're still working on getting those guests. But again, we were talking this morning because of yesterday, the jury used the term unpersuadable when saying that that's where they were at on this racketeering conspiracy charge.
Unpersuadable. After they said stuff like that, I thought it was going to be a hung jury and they was going to have to start all over. Oh my gracious. Somebody must have made some quick payments to switch some people's minds. And I thought they was hung leaning more toward the RICO. That's what I was thinking. I was wrong. Uncle Mike loved to say when he was wrong. But there was something else I was going to say. I forgot. God dang, man, I'm so sad over this whole thing.
That Sean Combs was facing, even though they were able to find unanimous verdicts on 4 counts facing Diddy. But here we are, just an hour in, going home, sleeping on it. The 12 members of the jury returning a verdict.
That's what I was going to say. I think because of the 4th of July holiday, it was going to be no court Thursday, Friday. Then you got Saturday and Sunday. Then they got to come back Monday for this crap. They didn't want to do that. The jury was like, yo, man, I'm sick and tired of this. Let's just get this over with. So I think they got rushed. So the people that were standing fast on, yes, it is a RICO, they switched over. They changed their mind and said, look, I ain't trying to come back here Monday. So, yeah, let's just say, no, he ain't on the RICO.
We're going to work on getting our guests up. But, Sierra, walk us through, as you've covered this every day, of what makes this racketeering charge so complicated and why it seemed the jury, at least early on in these deliberations, they were having an issue coming to a verdict on this charge leading up to about 5 minutes ago.
Well, I'm really not surprised that it was count 1 that was the hung jury or the confusion, right? Because it is the most complicated of all of them, racketeering conspiracy. And this is something we've talked at length about with the predicate crimes, things like arson, bribery, forced labor, kidnapping, and it's got to be confusing. I mean, for me, who doesn't have a law degree, I've been covering this case for quite some time now. Even at times I waver and I'm like, wait, what is this about? Let's, make sure to go back and really think about it. And I think for jurors, that's what it's got to be, right? It's now become their job to figure this out. However, they weren't watching P. Diddy before all of this. They might have seen his name in the news, but they weren't really zoning in on racketeering conspiracy. And I think the biggest issue in all of this is likely that it's a conspiracy, right? Multiple people had to take part in this conspiracy, and yet there was only one person charged, one defendant, P. Diddy. And to me, that could be the question mark in all of this. And I do want to say, before we throw back to our guests really quickly, we were not expecting this verdict. P. Diddy's family walked out of the courtroom. I watched them go. Everyone thought, okay, that's the way it's going to be. And all of a sudden, they're coming right back in. We're getting the rush. And again, it just wasn't expected after 1 hour of deliberation this morning.
Court update again. Sean Combs has entered the courtroom. He looked at his family. Again, his mom and his sister are there right now. He looked at his family, nodded his head, and flashed a small smile. Let's bring in our experts right now. Candace Kelly, legal analyst. William Corbin, good to see you again. What is your reaction, Candace? I'll start with you. William Corbin, criminal defense attorney, by the way. But Candace, I'll start with you. Your reaction to the jury reaching this verdict?
Well, listen, I'm not surprised. I know that we talked about lunch just a few minutes ago. I'm a little quiet now because I'm in a TV studio. You'll probably see people running behind me, by the way. But I'm not surprised because, listen, we know that there was a point where they were coming to a conclusion in all this, and we thought that it was going to be today. I think what happened is that when they slept on it, maybe a lot of them made their decisions and came to a conclusion when they got to court, because that was very quick. It's 10:13 right now. Not a lot of discussions, probably just a lot of voting on each of the charges and then moving on.
It'll be fascinating to hear just how many people yesterday were on one side compared to the others, to the other on this charge, the 12 jurors. William, what's your reaction that they were able to, in about an hour today, find a verdict?
This is why I never bet on how long it's going to take to reach a verdict.
Right.
Because I think both Candace and I were looking at noon or a little bit after noon,
Yes.
and that was about 6 minutes ago. So we're both way off. I agree with Candace. I think that giving them the night off, giving them the pause, allowed whoever it was that needed to do some internal soul searching, whoever it was that needed to marshal their arguments to convince whatever holdouts there were. They did their job, and so now here we are. Again, as I mentioned a little while ago, sitting around waiting for a verdict is very taxing. Thing worse than sitting around waiting for a verdict is when you know there is a verdict and you're sitting around waiting for the verdict to be read. This is about as high drama and about as tense as it gets. I've been in this position many times. It is an uncomfortable feeling because you're trying to read tea leaves that simply don't exist. They are sitting in that courtroom right now, just staring at the walls, waiting for the jurors to come in, waiting for everyone to reassemble. And it's tense and it's tough and it's taxing.
And let's get to this update. The judge says we received a note at 9:52 a.m. and it reads, "We have reached a verdict on all counts. Anything to address before we bring out the jury?" Both sides say no. The judge says maintain order while the verdict is being read and until we have the jury out. Candace, walk us through. We don't have cameras in the courtroom, but what is going to happen next?
Well, listen, this gives time for the family to reconvene. As we know, the family left. They perhaps thought like us that they had a little more time. It gives everybody a time to kind of shore up, be ready, be there as you would want somebody who's a defendant who may not be walking out of the jail. So with that in mind, everybody gets assembled. And then the foreperson is going to read the verdict once everybody is marshaled in. And as you mentioned, the judge is going to have to do a very good job to say, everybody, please be calm. Make sure that your reactions are in accordance with the rules and guidelines of the courtroom. As we know, though, Chris, that is very difficult to maintain. I am sure that regardless of what the verdict is, there is going to be a reaction, because any combination of an outcome, guilty, not guilty, it's going to be a surprise because we just don't know, and we just are not the jurors in there making the decision.
Yeah, and what a decision that they've made. I'm getting another update here. The judge says, I will ask our deputy to bring back our jury. Sean Combs has remained seated. His 8 lawyers are standing up. The judge says, all rise. So here we go. The jury's going to be coming in. So I do apologize if I'm looking off screen as I typically do. I have a monitor here. So I'm kind of watching this like a hawk to make sure that I bring you the update as quickly as possible. And as I wait for the update, William, let's talk about count 1, racketeering conspiracy. And just for those who are joining us, this is a complicated charge. What does the jury, as the jury, I'm just told the jurors are now entering, what is the jury going through? How do they reach a guilty or not guilty verdict? What do they consider when looking at count one, racketeering conspiracy?
They have to find that Sean Combs was guilty beyond a reasonable doubt of the predicate offenses, at least two of the predicate offenses, such as arson, drug trafficking, sex trafficking, and so on. Then they also have to find beyond a reasonable doubt that he was part of an enterprise, and the enterprise was created for the purpose of committing criminal acts, that the enterprise itself was created for the purpose of continued criminal conduct. We know from the notes yesterday that this is what the jury was hung up on, and we know that after 52 minutes or so of deliberating today, whatever they were hung up on now has been resolved.
And we have received your note, says the judge. Juror number 5, have you reached a verdict? He is the foreman. Juror number 5 says we have. The judge says, is it unanimous? Juror number 5 says it is. The judge says, please provide the verdict for the deputy. And I'm waiting for another update to come in. But Candace, and I may cut you off here, take us inside what's probably the courtroom right now. And we do have, before that verdict comes in, we do have a poll up if you want to weigh in, everybody watching, on what you think the verdict may be. But take us inside, paint a picture of what it is like to be in that room right now.
Listen, everyone's quiet as a mouse. They are waiting for the details. This is the moment that this 7 weeks has been built upon, not just for the jurors, but for the public, for the reporters, for his family, for Sean Combs. This is the time. So it is quiet. Everybody's being patient. All rules are being followed. No one is acting up. No one is doing anything. Everybody is waiting with bated breath. This is the moment.
Yeah, it's a moment as I'm seeing one of my producers writing here. So I apologize, just waiting here to see if we do have the update on what that count is. They're reading this charge. I think of this morning when Sean Combs, we were talking with Elizabeth Milner, who's in the courtroom right now, that Sean Combs was praying with his family. And here is the verdict. The judge says the deputy will inquire as to the verdict. The deputy says, in the matter of the U.S. versus Sean Combs, count 1, juror number 5, not guilty. Deputy, sex trafficking of 𝗟𝗓𝗓𝗓, juror number 5, not guilty.
That's crazy.
Deputy, transportation for prostitution, juror number 5, guilty. So we have 2 not guilties on count 1, racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking of 𝗟𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓, that is not guilty, and transportation for prostitution, guilty. What is your reaction, William, to what the jury has found in the case against Sean Combs?
So far, I'm very surprised. I thought that the prosecution really did put forward a fantastic case involving Cassie Ventura. I'm surprised that they weren't able to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. I think that the defense counsel certainly did a great job in sort of showing the back and forth, the digital footprints that we talked about earlier, showing that, perhaps she was a willing participant in all this. Perhaps, she did know what was going on and that she was okay with it. That's my take on it.
The final 2 counts for sex trafficking of the victim who went by the pseudonym Jane. Juror number 5 says not guilty, and transportation for prostitution of Jane. Juror number 5 finds guilty. The jury finds it guilty, according to the foreman, juror number 5. Candace, what is your reaction?
So listen, we're not surprised. We knew that lower act, we knew that the transportation, crossing straight lines, in order to engage in prostitution, we knew that was practically a given, that the defense was willing actually to give up, as we talked about before, that's up to 10 years. So that could really be across the spectrum. What we know it's not is RICO. We know it's not 20 years to life. And I think that that's something that defense definitely would say is a win. We are not surprised. I think that none of us are.
William, what does this mean for Sean Combs now? These are the two weakest charges in terms of penalties, I guess you would say, in terms of seriousness of charges. Not guilty on racketeering, not guilty on sex trafficking of 𝗟𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓, not guilty of sex trafficking of Jane. What does this verdict mean, getting those 2 guilty verdicts on the transportation for prostitution charges?
Well, obviously, there's still serious charges. I mean, it's the full weight of the federal government has come down against Mr. Combs and has charged him with these crimes. Obviously, he is relieved to have not been found guilty of the more serious crimes, if you will, but these were serious nonetheless. And there is a possibility that he's going to be sentenced to federal prison as a result. Both these counts carry with him up to 10 years in federal prison. He does have, I want to say, 10 or 12 months in already. He would get credit for that. I do think that there's a reasonable likelihood that he'll still be sentenced to some period of state prison and obviously, federal prison. But again, it's still very, very serious.
Does this mean that Sean Combs potentially could walk out of the courthouse today and then sentencing be pushed to a later date, Candace?
He's not walking out today. He's got a lot to do in terms of actually going back to the courthouse. And what they want to make sure doesn't happen is that he doesn't, he's not out in order to do what they thought he might do, which was tamper with witnesses. If they choose to charge this any further, he's not going anywhere. He's going to be held, and then he's going to be sentenced, and then he's going to be placed somewhere. As you said, it could be Florida, it could be in the Midwest, it could be Pennsylvania with Bob Menendez. We never know, but he is not going anywhere today.
And then, William, walk us through the sentencing part of this. We know what the verdict is now. What happens next?
So what happens next is that there is a sentencing hearing that will take place probably 30 to 60 days from now. In the meantime, both sides will marshal their arguments. They will put forth sentencing memorandum. The defense counsel puts together a memorandum. The prosecution puts together a memorandum. And also the probation department, the pretrial services, they also put together a memo. They will interview Mr. Combs. They will, each of those three branches, if you will come up what they believe an appropriate sentence is. And then ultimately it's up to the judge to formulate whatever sentence he sees fit in this particular case.
And we'll get some reaction. I'm still waiting to get the description of what the courtroom was like in this moment with Sean Combs being found guilty on the most.
That's it. Man. Again, I don't think he should have got the RICO. I don't think they proved the RICO. I don't know what's going to happen, man. They saying at around 5 o'clock, I guess they going to have some type of update or something. Miss King, I'm going to take her advice, man. I ain't even going to worry about it. I got a life to live. I got to move forward from this. This ain't the last of all this. So I'm going to get on up out of here as we speak. I'm working on music and all that good stuff, man. So y'all take it light, take it slow. Tell them Uncle Mike told you so. Peace out.